Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Yes, this is the real story, and I am Daniel Hapney. What did I bring you tonight? I will have to ask you, do you need more government? Do you have enough government? What type of government do you want? What type of government do you think you have? And in the case of Brian Joyce, Brian, FYI, for your information, Brian, this is a constitutional republic. Yeah, not a democracy. Rather interesting that nowhere in the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, even the Declaration of Independence, does the word democracy appear once. Doesn't appear, huh? Think the founders left it out for a reason, Brian? And Brian, if you would, maybe when you're on the show sometime, or you're on another Sharon Cable show, other than the crazy guy on Channel 8, you know, maybe you want to tell the viewers the difference between a democracy and a constitutional republic. So there's my little throw out to Brian. Okay, tonight's show. Some interesting stuff. I asked you, gee, what's the right size of government? Well, I kind of want to cover something that you see on the news because it's just rude, crude, and it's wrong. And it's conditioning the populace. And that's what I call the, the treasonous sexual assailants, the TSA. Remember, you're told that we need to now squeeze your genitals and your daughter's genitals, okay, so that people that aren't even law officers, and by the way, maybe we can get our Department of Homeland Security officer McGrath on the television show, and he can tell us what type of violation and whether or not police would be serving time if they felt your daughter's genitals when they just met your daughter on the street. What makes you think that these TSA people can even touch you? So anyway, yeah, I think of it as a sexual assault, but let's go for a couple of them. First, let's hear from a friend of mine. When I say a friend of mine, let's hear from Ron Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise this evening to announce that I introduced some legislation today dealing with the calamity that we have found at our airports with TSA. Something has to be done. Everybody's fed up. The people are fed up. The pilots are fed up. I'm fed up. I've come to this floor many times over the past many years and complained about the terrible foreign policy we've had, the terrible monetary policy we had, the excessive spending and the debt, and also the tax policy. But what we're doing and what we're accepting and putting up with at this airport is so symbolic of us just not standing up and saying enough is enough. I know the American people are starting to wake up, but our government, those in charge, Congress as well as the executive branch, are doing nothing. Yes, they're talking about maybe backing off and allowing the pilots to go through. But can you think how silly the whole thing is? The pilot has a gun in the cockpit, and he's managing this aircraft, which is a missile, and we make him go through this groping X-ray exercise, having people feel in their underwear. It's absurd, and it's time we wake up. The bill I've introduced will take care of this. But we have to realize that the real problem is that the American people have been too submissive. We have been too submissive. It's been going on for a long time, and this was to be expected even from the beginning of the TSA. And it's deeply flawed. Private property should be protected by private individuals, not bureaucrats. But the bill that I've introduced will take care of it. It's very simple. It's one paragraph long. It removes the immunity from anybody in the federal government that does anything that you or I can't do. If you can't grope another person, and if you can't x-ray people and endanger them with possible x-ray, you can't take nude photographs of individuals, why do we allow the government to do it? We would go to jail if an individual, he'd be immediately arrested if an individual citizen went up and did these things, and yet we just sit there and calmly say, oh, they're making us safe. And besides, the argument from the executive branch is that when you buy a ticket, you have sacrificed your rights, and it's the duty of the government to make us safe. That isn't the case. You never have to sacrifice your rights. The duty of the government is to protect our rights, not to use them and do what they have been doing to us. The pilots, hopefully, will be exempted from this. But another suggestion I have that might help us, let's make sure that every member of Congress goes through this. Get the x-ray, take a look, and make them look at the pictures, and then go through one of those groping pat-downs. And then I think there'd be a difference. Have everybody in the executive branch, anybody a cabinet member, make them go through it and look at it. Maybe they would pay more attention. But this, it doesn't work. This is not what makes us safer. This is preposterous to think that the TSA has made us safer. When you think about it, if you look at what's happened over the past 10 years, during this last decade, we lost 3,000 on a terrible, terrible day for America. But since that time, in this last decade, we have also lost 6,000 of our military personnel going over there and trying to rectify this problem. We have lost 400,000 people on our government-run highways. We have lost 150,000 individuals from homicides. So I think there's reason to be concerned, reason to deal with this problem. We're not dealing with it the right way. We're doing the wrong thing. And groping people at the airport doesn't solve our problems. What has solved our problems basically has been that they put a good lock on the door and they put a gun inside the cockpit. That's been the greatest boon to our safety. Safety should be the responsibility of the individual and the private property owner. But right now, we assume the government's always going to take care of us, and we are supposed to sacrifice our liberties. I say that is wrong. We are not safer. And we also know there are individuals who are making money off this. Michael Chertoff. I mean, here's a guy that was the head of the TSA selling the equipment. And the equipment's questionable. We don't even know if it works, and it may well be dangerous to our health. The way I see this, if this doesn't change, I see what has happened to the American people is we have accepted the notion that we should be treated like cattle. Make us safe, make us secure, put us in the barbed wire, feed us, fatten us up, and then they'll eat us. And we're a bunch of cattle, and we have to wake up and say, we've had it. I think this whole idea of an opt-out day is just great. We ought to opt out and make the point, get somebody to watch it, take a camera. It's time for the American people to stand up, shrug off the shackles of our government at TSA, at the airport.
Now here's a congressman who understands, gee, it's wrong. I could ask you viewers, was the underwear bomber put on the plane by the United States State Department? Did he get to bypass security? Why do you have to show your naked body to fly a plane? Is this all part of conditioning? These are my questions for you. So anyway, here's, let's see, where would we start with you? Let's start with some pictures, just so you see. Notice how you can see globalists working when you see here's Bloomberg in New York City, okay, in New York, telling you that, well, carbon taxes, remember the global warming scam and lie? The thing where you're going to pay carbon taxes to globalist bankers? Remember Al Gore lying to you? Remember Sharon teaching the children in Sharon the inconvenient truth when it turned out to be a lie about carbon dioxide and global warming? Rather interesting, huh? But here he is, here's Bloomberg telling you that, well, carbon taxes, if you pay them, you'll be fighting terrorism. I know you don't believe me. Here it is. Another good one for you, and this is so that you can get used to this new fascist police state. You're on a list. Remember the no-fly list, and then they had legislation to make it a no-buy list, then in the future to be a no-job list? I think the Germans did this. I'm sure the Chinese did. Anytime you set up, any type of totalitarianism, tyrannical regime, usually have lists, so you can put people on it and keep the rest of the people in fear. Remember East Germany? They all thought they were being watched. Okay, but here you go. Just because you wouldn't believe me unless I showed you, Yeah, the whole Department of Homeland Security and TSA list. Maybe we'll once again get our Department of Homeland Security representative on here, and he can tell us about who's on the list in Sharon and how they got on the list, and also he can tell us how they get off the list if they were put on there by accident. That's the one I'd love to hear. Yeah, I'm sure. Then maybe we can discuss the fusion centers. Whole nother topic for another time. Here's the LA Times telling you about the new enhanced pat-downs, where now we go into your crevices, we go into your pants. We have to feel your daughter's breasts We just have to, because she might be Al-Qaeda. We had to pull the colostomy bag or whatever off the, guy in the wheelchair, Think about this as conditioning, because that's all it is. It's nothing but. Once again, these are not sworn law enforcement officers. No. They're one up from minimum wage. Okay, I'm sure they took a test. Think of the type of perverts who would want this job, who would want this power thing, and why would they want to constrict the movement of Americans to the point where they get just disgusted and they don't want to move. Okay, so here's a little piece. Here's what you can expect soon. This is coming soon. So you, too, can be a strip search, person, so you can know how to do it. Here you go.
You're about to see the correct way to conduct a strip or visual search. First, the initial verbal command is important. It makes a difference. Be professional.
All right, Jones, come with me for a strip search.
Next, conduct the search in private if possible.
Take off your clothing, please.
This is a most vulnerable moment. You've just asked someone to undress in front of you. Proper, courteous verbal commands are essential.
Okay. Put your head back for me, please. Look at your nose.
Capsules, containers, and even small hacksaw blades have been found in the nasal passages.
Open your mouth. Okay, stick your tongue up. Okay, stick it out. Okay, lower your lower lip. Pull it out and lower it down. Good. Okay, the upper lip.
Remember, a calm, professional attitude is important.
Okay. Okay.
Keep in mind, you're ordering a naked person to obey you.
Let's spread your legs. A little bit wider. Okay. Okay, lift your penis for me, please. Okay. Testicles.
Be professional and alert.
Let's turn around.
Look at the neck, back, spinal area, and buttocks.
Okay, bend forward for me, please. And spread your buttocks.
Look for anything inserted.
Okay.
You may see a thin string, indicating something is there. Remember, do not deviate from what is appropriate and professional. A female is searched the same way as a male, with two exceptions.
I need you to take your earrings off, any bands, any bobby pins, clips out of your hair, and take your clothes off.
The first is to remove all clips, hair ornaments, bands, or hair pieces. These should be carefully searched. The second exception is the female breast area.
Now I need you to lift your breast. Okay, you can drop them.
In summary, for correct strip search procedure, remember that your initial verbal command makes a difference. Be professional, be systematic, stay alert.
All right, we're going to get a little lighter. Here's what the Canadians think, and it's funny. This is a little comedy guys out of Canada, but I don't want to belittle it, because when I say belittle, by making fun of it, that's human to make fun of stuff, and I'm okay with that. But the reality is, we don't protect or watch or guard our borders. Yet we have to feel your daughter's breast when she goes on the, we have to have a naked scan of your son. Do you know anything about biometric scans? How about the radiation? When I go to the dentist, he's going to cover me just to take shots of my teeth. When I go in, when you go in for x-rays with the doctor, they go behind you, what? A door. You're in, the radiation. But no, I'm going to have, minimum wage people doing what? And that irradiation, that's really good for me. This whole thing, this is Germany, wer are your papers? At least the Germans said, please. Wer are your papers, please. But do you see this police state growing? Can you feel it growing? Do you have any sense? If not, follow the money. I usually start the show, I say follow the money. Am I right or am I wrong? That Chertoff, the dual citizen, not even an American, was the head of Homeland Security. And that he ordered the naked body scanners, and now he's profiting from it. I thought that was illegal. How about, when Tom Ridge writes the book? Oh, we used to change the terror code for political reasons. Don't believe me, read Tom Ridge's book.